Welcome to the Fantasy Football Garage. I'm Chris the Candyman, and you already know what time it is. Tonight, we're drafting best ball teams, and it's an extra special Friday. It's officially Fast Draft Friday. If you haven't heard, if you're not following me on Twitter, follow me at FFB Garage. If you're new to the channel, if you're watching this later, make sure you're subscribed. We're going to be doing best ball drafts all summer long, nonstop. You're going to want to be here for it. Some great stuff. Today, we're going to be drafting some teams, either Flex 4 or Origins teams from the Fast Draft app, Fast Draft Fantasy. It's a newer app and it's a lot of fun. I've done a ton of these contests so far. If you're new to it, check it out. You can watch it here on the stream. You can help me out and make my picks. Consider downloading. You can use promo code GARAGE to get up to a $50 match. And then also today is the best time to join. They have this really sweet promo going. It's only today. If you draft 5 of any of their teams, so enter any tournament 5 times, and then post on their new Discord one of your teams in their hashtag Rate My Team tab, and you'll get $100 credit to use. And we've got multiple different tournaments open right now. The Flex 4 and the Origins tournament are both $5 entries. Got $50K up top for the prize pool in the Flex 4 and $25K in the Origins. It's the 4th Origins tournament they've had this summer. They had one that was pre-NFL draft. They had 2 that were during the NFL draft. And now the newest one, which is one of the largest ones, is now open. It's rookies only, 10 teams, full PPR, season-long scoring, 6 rounds. It's a lot of fun. We might be checking that out first on stream. But yeah, pumped to get into it. And then also, if you haven't heard, it's going to, after this stream, after we do some fast draft tournament entries on stream right here, we're going to jump over to Nick Box stream, Nick Boclage, and we're going to be drafting with him soon enough later tonight. So after we finish up here, we'll jump over there. We're going to do some eliminators on his stream. Should be a lot of fun. And other housekeeping things. Monday night, the first official episode of BALLSY with BINDLES and myself here on the channel, 8:30 p.m. Central. We're going to be reviewing our Dynasty rookie drafts, answering your Dynasty questions, and drafting a Best Ball Mania. You don't want to miss out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tuesday is going to be the first official as well. Tool Time Tuesdays with Chris. My first guest is going to be none other than Billy Jones. We're going to be reviewing some of his data visualizations, talking about our approach to best ball modeling data, looking at players, metrics, and statistics. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to nerd out on Tuesday, no doubt about it. Wednesday, we have Emo Cowboy coming on, and we're going to draft a Best Ball Mania, and we're going to get after it. We're going to have a great time, of course, from the Fantasy Sanctuary. Thursday, after the Sibling Showdown on the Fanspeak Network channel, Meg is going to come join my channel, and we're going to do a Best Ball Mania draft Thursday evening, and then even more to come Friday and next weekend, and tomorrow night, Saturday, and Sunday as well. We'll be drafting Best Ball. Got some surprises cooking. So a lot going on in the next week. You're going to want to be here for it. Make sure you're subscribed. Turn notifications on if you want to draft with us. Come get in here, get in the chat, ask some questions. We're going to have a great time this summer. And without further ado, let's kick it to the intro, and then we'll jump into some of these fast drafts. It's Fast Draft Friday. Let's get after it. And the intro. But overall, it's like the guy can ball. Like, actions speak louder than words. Here we are. How we doing tonight, fellas? What's going on? Jamie, what's going on? Hartman, hope you guys are having a great Friday. Ready for the weekend. Looking forward to what's next. Drafting some best ball teams. What we've got on the screen here, it's none other than the Fast Draft Fantasy app. I'm in the loading screen. Looks like Jamie already hopped into one. I'm going to see if I can queue up an Origins. I forgot to pull open the Discord, but if it takes more than a second to fill, we can hop in their Discord. They have a new drafting section where you can promote how many spots are available in your draft, get some more people in there. It's been popping off all day. This is the most active I've ever seen this app, and I've been using it for months, and I'm really enjoying it. So if you guys are new to it, take a look, see if you like it, see if it's for you. I'm about to get into an Origins draft. I'm going to keep it in this view while I join the draft. Once we enter the draft board, I'll go full screen wide out. Waiting on 3 to fill. A Fast Draft Origins rookie only contest. $25,000 in prizes. This will be, I've done 4 of these, and this particular Origins tournament, they've already closed 3 other tournaments. I did a bunch of those, like I said, pre-draft and during the draft. This one's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's full PPR. It's season-long scoring, weeks 1 to 17. There's 6 rounds, 10 teams, 3rd round reversal. A lot to keep track of, especially your buys, your bye weeks. One thing I think that's really sharp to keep track of that people aren't thinking of yet is your buys. In season-long scoring, it's the team that scores the most points total, weeks 1 to 17. If you have 4 players on a bye in week 8, see you later. You're not going to win this tournament. You're out. If you've got 2 Lions on your team, 2 Buccaneers on your team, any combination of guys in bye apocalypse week 8, you're not going to win this thing. You can't bounce back. There's no finals pods. It's total scoring. So we have to approach it that way. You want to have no more than 2 players on a bye because you can only start 4 players per week. Okay, it's best ball. There's 6 players. You got 2 on your bench. And then, if you haven't seen this yet, there's an extra twist at the end. After we draft the team, we get to choose our modifiers. And I think that makes it another added layer of excitement and kind of like strategy, because naturally you want to have your best players get the highest modifiers. For instance, if you get Ashton Genty at the 101, you give him your times 2 points modifier. Then your second player you get in the second round, you give him the 1.75 modifier. There's a 1.5 modifier, a 1.25 modifier, and then your 2 bench spots, they only get a ×1 modifier. If you get tricky and you draft maybe a team that's really chalk, like a Genty team that has a lot of other components that people might have, maybe a Genty team's not the best example, but well, yeah, you could always mix up your modifiers on the tail end. You could open a Ty Felton who goes in the second to last or last round and make him, third times a 1.5 modifier. If he blows up and you're the only person this entire tournament who gave that high of a modifier to Ty Felton, and you've got the rest of your team figured out pretty consistently, well drafted, no overlapping buys, you have a good shot to win. Another way that I can see you doing the strategy is drafting one of the quarterbacks like Shuck or Dart, and then getting lucky that they start more games than you would expect. If Dart starts every game, if Shuck starts every game, he'll be able to compete with the Ward teams. Right now, Cam Ward is the only QB that goes typically in the first round because he's the only one that should be starting every week, right? And maybe Genty can still, it's full PPR, probably Genty still outscores him on average. So Genty goes first, usually Cam Ward goes second. That's how I would play it. If Shuck comes in here and actually does better on a season-long scoring basis than Cam Ward, then he's a great value. He's been rising. He goes in like the second round. So does Dart. I think Dart could potentially miss a bunch of games, though, getting benched, or not getting benched, but having to wait for Russell Wilson to get benched, if at all. I think he will come in. It could be late in the season. And then with Shuck, could he get benched? Could he just not be the right guy for the job? So it's a lot of risk in taking quarterbacks. Another strategy that I've been following up all along is I've been going really hard on the running backs and slight fade on the tight ends that aren't Loveland or Warren. I think Loveland and Warren are still good picks and still should be going in the second round. But past that, it's really risky. I don't take a lot of tight ends past that. They just don't have the same scoring ceiling that these running backs and wide receivers do, and even the late QBs. I mean, if Will Howard starts half the season and he's been on your bench, but you didn't need him, you're able to get through your bye weeks without the dead roster spot of a Will Howard. And then all of a sudden, Will Howard's starting by week, who knows? I mean, the Steelers, they go on their bye in week 5. If Will Howard comes out week 6 and starts the rest of the season, he could win this tournament. So there's a lot of game theory, a lot of strategy to take in. It's a lot of fun. Waiting on 2 more. I'm going to hop in the Discord and promote that we need 2 more to fill this draft, and then we'll get it kicked off quickly. What up, Disbanded? How you doing tonight, my friend? Hope you're having a good Friday, getting ready for the weekend. Yeah, Jamie, the $100. It's incredible. It's a great promo. I can't believe they did it, honestly. Goat, PBG, what up, my man? Fun stream earlier. Was catching it as I was doing my duties. Got the Saturn emote, love it. We're about to space out in here. Yeah, waiting on 1 more. Perfect. We got 1 more for an Origins. So like I said, if you're new to it, if you haven't seen it yet, just watch what happens. I'm going to full screen it once I get the draft started. It's just a better view right now to see what's going on. But you can see, oh, there we go. Let's full screen it. Let's go to the box. I do better than that. I can do better than that. Bigger. Yes. Okay. Focus mode. So this is the draft board. I've gotten the 6th spot, right? We got, PPR Tyler, get out of here. We got PPR Tyler in the 2 spot. I wonder if he just jumped in and filled this one up. We were waiting on 1 for a while. I don't see any other really other names that I recognize. But yeah, PPR and we were drafting these Origins tournament all before the NFL draft, all during the NFL draft. We had a stream on my channel actually whenever the draft was, like 2 weeks ago, and we were doing some fast draft together on that one. But if you're new to it, watch how this one goes. Check it out. I'll try to explain it to you. Pretty straightforward, but you want to draft players who are going to start, who aren't going to be deep on a depth chart, not getting snaps. You want players who are getting snaps immediately. PPR scoring, season long, weeks 1 to 17. There's no finals. There's no pods. You just got to win and draft the best players. I'm gonna go T-Mac here. Although I like Harvey a lot, and I want to get more Harvey. I think this is my 5th in this particular Origins iteration. This is the 4th one. I've entered in all of them, so I'm trying to get my exposures up on guys like Harvey, who I don't have yet in this tournament. But it's hard to pass up on T-Mac. I think he's going to be a target hog. You know, we can roll the T-Mac clip already. And so also the other thing to consider, T-Mac has a week 14 bye, which is nice because he's going to be playing all season long. He's the de facto wide receiver 1 on his team. Tons of targets. Harvey also has the bye week in 12, so that's also a good spot to be in. Dart goes early in this one. I was taking a lot of Dart during the draft, but now that I've thought more about it, I think I put Dart kind of at the end of round 2 because if you draft him in this format, you have to assume he's going to be starting sooner than later. But every single week he sits out, you can't win. You're just losing those points unless you draft like a really sick team with your other 4 or 5 selections that can hold the line while Dart sits on your bench and doesn't score any points for a few weeks. It's pretty risky, risk reward, but I don't know if it's worth it yet. I think the better play is to just go for the skill position guys and avoid some of the QBs. So that's Reed Duke is actually taking both QBs, Shuck and Dart, which now you have to hope that they're not going to be riding on the bench. Otherwise, your team's dead. But I think it's good to mix it up. So on some drafts, if you get in a spot where you can get both like that, maybe you do it. Maybe you take one. Golden goes. I like Burden. Higgins is there. Loveland is there. I typically am going Burden here because I'm going to bet on the talent. So I've got 2 wide receivers back to back, and Chicago's bye week is week 5, so it's pretty early. But I feel like this is good. My bye weeks are pretty spread out, and I haven't drafted any players with a lot of overlapping bye. I mean, so taking T-Mac, you might not want to get Cam Scatabo because of the overlapping buys. What else could you think of? Like with getting Burden, you might not want Golden because of the buys together. So if you took like Burden and Golden at the 1-2 turn, also it's 3rd round reversal, so that's pretty interesting. How fast do you draft? Aaron, I love the new picture. That's from tonight. I saw BBG rocking the glasses and the scarf again. So things were turning up over there. How fast do I draft? As fast as I can. Usually the drafts only last about 8 to 10 minutes. And if I have a good connection, if I'm not multitasking, if I'm just focused in, I just pick as soon as I'm ready. So I've done these fast drafts with other content creator streams before, and we can rip like 3 drafts in 20 to 30 minutes, no problem. And that was on nights where they were taking longer to fill. So on a night like tonight, fast draft Friday, everyone's getting into it. You know, who knows how fast these things can be filling up and how many we could rip in 30 minutes. So the team in the 8 spot is going really risky taking Shedeur there. I think that's not a good pick. I'm on the clock. I could go Knoll here. I think I'll go Knoll and then see what comes back to me. This is tough because Knoll might play limited snaps to start the season. So I would have really liked to get Blue there. I think Blue would have been a good pick there. Warren goes at the first pick in the 3rd round. That's a steal. Anytime Warren goes in the 3rd round is really nice. I considered going Marks because maybe he just has a larger role from the beginning. The other player I was looking at was Pat Bryant, who also kind of like Knoll has to earn his role on his offense, but it's a good offense. Both those guys go in the 3rd round of the NFL draft. A pick like Giddens, I think, is decent, but a little bit better later on. It's tough though. You start getting to these running backs who are just like could be buried on a depth chart. So it's hard to know who to go here once you start getting into these deeper rounds. So it's 6 rounds, but it gets deep pretty quick, as you can see. Devin Neal goes off the board. Looks like Tyler's going for the Cam Ward with a bunch of running backs approach, which I think is smart. I'm going to queue up Pat Bryant and Savion Williams, 2 guys that I think could get a good amount of snaps. I've been doing some research on Savion Williams in the last 24 hours, and he had like 111 touches in college last season between his rushing attempts and his receptions. It's like a huge number. That's like insane. Way more than Luther Burden, way more than a bunch of guys we're drafting. Like he gets a huge workload. He had a huge workload with TCU last season. So I'm pretty high on Savion Williams. I want to get him in a bunch more of these. I have him ranked pretty aggressively. So for instance, what Reduk is doing right here, the team in the 8 spot, he almost certainly can't really compete in this tournament unless all the picks he's made so far are starting quarterbacks. And the fact that Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel on the same team means one of them can't start. So it's pretty much dead. So that's something you have to consider. Let me look at my buys real quick because I've added Knoll, Houston, perfect. So I have 0 overlapping buys to this point, and then Denver. And Denver's week 12, right? So I don't think people are taking into account the buys yet. Now that we know this information from the schedule, you need to be avoiding overlapping buys when you only have 6 players on your team, can only start 4 a week. Every single week that you have the ability to start only 3 players, you can't win the tournament because you're competing with everyone who enters, not just your pod. Every single team who enters the tournament, it's an entire the entire thing is the finals. It's one finals pod. So if you draft a version of a team and in week 8 you only started 3 players, you're almost certainly not going to win or place in the money, I would think. So Savion's there. I'm going to grab Savion. I think he's a great pick. He can get touches out of the backfield, either running the ball or he can get snaps at receiver. So I think he's pretty dynamic. We could see him rising up throughout the summer in this format, especially. 111 touches last season. I was trying to compare it to someone. I think it was like, I forget which players I looked up, but there are other rookies, wide receivers who are getting drafted. Savion Williams had more receptions and rushing attempts last season alone than some of these guys had in their entire 3-year careers. So it's definitely something we need to consider. Ty Felton, I think, is a great pick. So Tyler gets a good pick there with Felton. If Addison misses games, which we think he will because of suspension, Felton comes right in, gets snaps immediately, maybe gets a bigger role out of it. So I think that's a really sharp pick to go Felton. I've been trying to get as much Felton as possible. I love Ollie Gordon because what he could do, he's one of the last picks that I like. I could also take Allen. Yeah, so obviously Ollie Gordon goes. I like Donovan Edwards a little bit. I like Yarns too. I was taking those guys a lot pre-draft origins. There's not a whole lot of players left that I love. One last look through. I'm going to go with Allen. I think I got him. Might have misclicked. Yeah, I got Allen there. I would have liked Ollie Gordon. I think it's just a potentially better situation. We have a big back like Ollie Gordon who could come in and complement Achane. We saw, Jalen Wright didn't do a whole lot on the Dolphins last season. And then LaQuint Allen, great pass catcher, is his PPR scoring. So if he can come in and have some of that pass catching role for the Jags or just do anything, he's a great pick. In this last round, you really just need a guy who's going to get on the field and get snaps and potentially cover your bye weeks for your players who are out. So Savion is going to be out week 5. I'm going to have Luther Burden out week 5. And then that's it. So only my week 5 scoring, I'll have 4 available players. Hopefully LaQuint Allen can put up some points in that week and cover for me. Yeah, let's see. Switch it over to this view. It's a little bit different once we get in here. I know it's small, but this is the best way to see it like this. I'm going to show you all the boosters. So the fastest drafter was PPR Tyler. I wasn't the slowest, which is good, but it doesn't really matter. It's just fun to see that. Got some value with T-Mac. I'm going to show you all the boosters, catch up with the questions you guys have got going. Yeah. Can Burden have the upside? I think so. I'm betting on the talent. Jamie's the fastest fast drafter in history, probably. I think to replace Wicks, maybe, although Wicks has a kind of a different role. Wicks is more of a down the field threat, as far as I can tell, like a big play, deep pass kind of guy, right? I think, if anything, can Savion come in and get some snaps out of the backfield to spell Josh Jacobs? And also, as a receiver, can he come in? I don't know if he would play behind. I'd have to look at the depth chart. Like, would he replace Dobbs is what I'm thinking. I don't know about, maybe he replaces Wicks, but apparently the Packers are trying to move one of their veteran receivers. I think it would be Dobbs. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but I want to see him get some snaps. What up, Crispy? How you doing tonight, my man? Hope your Friday's going good. CLN's in the house. How you doing? Appreciate you, brother. Good stuff earlier. Looking forward to more of your content for sure, my man. Yeah, Taj Brooks. Yeah, he was gone. I'm almost certain, right? Because I've got him ranked. I have Taj Brooks ranked pretty aggressively. I think I've got him either right with Giddens and Ollie Gordon, or maybe even just higher because it's more ambiguous who the backup for the Bengals is. So I was getting a ton of Taj Brooks in these Origin tournaments before the draft, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I think I do, FFE. I think they want to move Dobbs and or Wicks. And then Savion, they took him in the 3rd round. Like they definitely intend, I think, to get him on the field. He's got a lot of experience in college, a lot of touches in college, a good profile. So I think he's a guy that can come in and produce immediately. So I'm trying to get a lot of Savion Williams in this format. Let's look at the team. I can edit the boosters. That's a decent view for y'all. So you can slide the guys around, like I said, ×2, and then it cascades down. Your 2 bench players get the ×1. I think I would keep it at that. The only thing I would ask here is like, and you can edit these boosters all the way up until the season starts. So I can always come back and revisit this. Right now, I'm probably going to keep it as it is, but as I get more information as the summer goes on, maybe Pat Bryant wins a starting role immediately. Maybe Jalen Noel beats out Christian Kirk, but I would doubt that happening. What could be more likely is Savion Williams stepping into a role if the Packers trade Dobbs or Wicks or something happens. Who knows? So then I would come in here. I could throw Savion into my 1.5 and give him a boost because you want to boost players that are going to be obviously getting the most snaps, getting the most touches, putting up the most fantasy points. If you have a player like Shedeur Sanders, every week that he sits on the bench, you're losing points. And every week that you have a conflicting bye, you're losing points. And if you boost Sanders, you're screwed because, every week that I have T-Mac getting ×2, if you've got Sanders or Dart there and they're on the bench, they're useless. You can't win. But at the same time, if Tyler Shuck starts 17 games and you give him the ×2 multiplier, maybe he competes with the Cam Ward teams. And so there's some trade-offs, but you got to think through it a lot. There's some game strategy here. Let's get into another one. That's how fast we can do it. That draft took 10 minutes, and that was pretty quick. So let's do another Origins. I'm going to jump right back in, and we'll see how many we need to fill. Jump over and get on y'all's question. 3 more to fill. So like I said, if you want to get in here, if you're new to Fast Draft, check it out. See if you like it. Watch these drafts. If you've been doing a lot of best ball drafts this summer, I think it'll come naturally to you. If you've been doing a lot of dynasty content, you can do these origin tournaments where you're only drafting the rookies. Put your research to work. Draft your guys. Put your takes, out there. Put some money on it if you're into that. If you want to do these leagues, or $5 entries, I think it's very, very easy to get into, entry level, quick to learn. I've done 5 entries in this Origins. I think in total across we've already closed 3 tournaments. I think I've done, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 already. And then the Flex 4 is a different tournament where you're drafting all flex positions. It's the same thing, 10 teams, 6 rounds, PPR, 3rd round reversal, season long scoring, but it's every player except for quarterbacks. So you see Saquon or Jamar Chase go at the 101. At pick 60, it stops. So then you have guys like, just imagine, like Jordan Mason, Darnell Mooney, Najee Harris. All these other fantasy players are going undrafted. So what the trick is it's kind of like in your daily fantasy that we're used to. You want to scroll the F down. You want to take 4, maybe 5 players at ADP or where you have them ranked who you think are going to be the highest scoring players throughout the season. It could be all running backs, all wide receivers. You don't have to take a single tight end if you don't want to. There's no positions. It's all flexes. And with your 5th or 6th picks, you want to scroll down. One of the guys that I was scrolling down for was Cortland Sutton. He was previously like barely getting drafted. We filled another one. We got Who Hames in here. Got a Who Hames raid. Just me, but worth the raid. Love it. Appreciate you, my man. Let me flip the screen. Boom. Show the board. Let's see what Who Hames does at the 101. Does he go Cam Ward? Does he go Genty? Yes, the next Michael Thomas and Pat Bryant. I would 100% agree. You're on the same vibe. We're on the same wavelength. We know what Sean Payton can do with these not so fast but big, good receivers who can catch the ball and then move downfield and produce. So I think we're in. Yeah, we got Who Hames in here. We got Tyler in here. What up, emo cowboy? Yeah, PPR Tyler's in here too. He's in this one as well. I knew you were in the last one. I don't know if you just saw me and then jumped in or if you were already in the stream. See, I still go T-Mac here. I go T-Mac over Hampton, I think. I've moved T-Mac up. So I just got T-Mac in that last draft. What was that, the 6th spot? I get him in the 4th spot here because it's just how I have it ranked. I think T-Mac's going to be a target hog. Hampton might be splitting the work with Najee. And if Dobbins ends up back there, it's a 3-headed monster. So in this format, I think Hampton's a great pick. I just want to go T-Mac in full PPR and let it ride. Maybe he gets a shit ton of catches. Could he have 100 catches or 90 catches his rookie season? Let's say let's say for ease of math, he gets 100, a huge number, but 100 catches on like 140 targets. He'd probably put up 1,300 yards. Let's say he gets 5 touchdowns. So that'd be 30 points from the touchdowns. It'd be 100 points from the receptions. And it would be like 100 and, let's say, 30 points from the receiving yards. That'd be 260 points in full PPR. That would be pretty hard to beat. Cam Ward might be able to outscore that. Genty can probably outscore that, but that's a really good start. So I think T-Mac has a great ceiling for this. Hampton, I just don't know if he's going to get 10 touches a game or 15 touches a game or 18 touches a game. He's definitely not going to get as much as Genty. So I think Hampton, it's like a tier break for me. It's like these first 4 picks, and then I would go Hampton with the 5. Hampton, Henderson, Harvey, all kind of in that same tier. Then it's another tier break with Judkins and Caleb Johnson. And then you get back to these receivers like Golden, Higgins, Igbuka, Burden. I think the QB sprinkle in. So I took T-Mac again. I get the week 14 bye. So that means I don't want Cam Scatabo, but he's already gone. Patriots and 49ers. I don't think the 49ers have any rookies. I could do Burden again. I might just go Loveland this time to switch it up since I just took a Burden team. And I like Loveland a lot. I like Warren too, but Warren, I'm just worried about the volume of his offense. Although, if you look at their production in college, Colston Loveland versus Warren per game was like 30% more productive in terms of receptions, rushing yards, touches. He averaged like 2 rushes per game. He had like, I think Loveland averaged like 55 or 60 receiving yards per game. Warren was like up in the, I want to say about 80 plus some rushing yards. So the only thing is, I think the Bears are going to be a better passing offense than the Colts. Maybe Daniel Jones comes in there, and what they've been doing with Anthony Richardson the last couple of years is just completely different. Who knows? So we got Hames going with Genty and Bashal Tootin. I think that's very strong. Anytime I get Genty, I almost always just take all running backs and just try to get the nuts, the perfect run out with RBs that can just get touches. Blue used to be a 5th round pick. Obviously, that was pre-draft. Missed those days. We PPR Tyler in the 10 spot goes Golden, Higgins, Warren. I think he's good with his bye weeks right now. Let me see who I've got up next. So then I took Chicago, right? So that's a week 5 bye. I can do Marks here. The team's going to look pretty similar because I have my ranks in here. So if I just followed off my ranks versus ADP, telling me to go Woody Marks, I think I'll do that. Potentially, he's going to be a pass-catching back for Houston. Mixon always plays about 60% of snaps in his career. So there's some room there for Woody Marks to carve out a role. I think he had some crazy amount of like career receptions, but I can't, like, it was like over 100 career receptions or something. I think someone said on stream last night. Yeah, I saw you in the last one too. And the 10 hole. Yeah, he's in here. PPR's been in these Origins drafts with me for months now. We've been in there. I was just saying we did an Origins theme stream on day 1 of the draft on that Thursday night. We did a couple Origins. Okay, I have to go Savion. I've talked him up so much. There's Taj Brooks. I could switch it up and take Taj Brooks. I'm going to go Savion. Let me just look at my next pick. 34 to 48. There's a chance Savion comes back around. I think I'll take Savion. I don't want to risk it. I want to get him on more teams. I think he's undervalued. He should be going in the range where like potentially Knoll is going. Definitely go ahead of Royals, in my opinion. Pat Bryant, of course, Hames is a big Bryant bull. Gets him there. Takes Jalen Milrow. That's a risky pick, but I like it. A lot of upside with Milrow. If he starts any games, he's worth it. He's worth something. But it's just how many weeks can you get by with the buys? So I have one Bear and one Packer week 5 buys. That means I'm done with week 5 players Can't take any Falcons, can't take any Steelers, but I don't know if there's any left rookie-wise that I even want. And then Houston is a week 6 bye, so we're good there. T-Max week 14. So I don't think there's any Giants, Patriots, or Niners rookies left. I guess Jordan James would be it for the Niners. Classic. Who aims to taking Quinn Ewers? Hey, I wouldn't hate it. I've drafted some Quinn Ewers pre-draft in this tournament in the 6th round. I think Will Howard's a decent pick until we know more information. Is the Origins contest a new pod post-draft? Yes. So it's a new tournament. So this is the 4th. This is like, think of it as like the puppy. This is like the puppy 4. So they're completely distinct tournaments. So that's good because you don't have to compete with the teams that I was drafting pre-draft where like we were getting some nice runouts, getting Jaden Blue in like the last round, second to last round. Even the teams that were drafted when the draft was ongoing, you don't have to compete against them. A lot of those teams, though, had like Shador in the first round. So just a completely different tournament. Elijah Arroyo's interesting pick for sure. Ty Felton. Yeah, PPR's a big Felton bull, it looks like right now. He knows that Addison's going to miss some games. So I would definitely consider Brooks and I think then Tesla. I probably want to change my own ranks. Damn it. Brooks keeps going. I think Will Howard's a pretty good pick. So is Dylan Gabriel. Maybe on my next one if they're still there. Thornton's interesting. Detroit. Can I take a Detroit player? Because of my buys, I'm good. Yeah, I should be good. I don't mind taking the whole clock to draft because it really doesn't matter. There's no like bonus or anything for that. And I'd rather get these bye weeks down and not burn this entry with a team that can't survive the bye weeks. So Detroit, I didn't have any overlaps there in week 8 yet, but I can't take any players in week 5 with my last pick. I would say I've got one starting receiver, one starting tight end, a third down running back, and then 2 depth receivers that are on really good passing offenses. So anything can happen. With this last pick, I probably wanted to take a player who's going to get snaps. So it might not be the right team for Dylan Gabriel or Will Howard because I can't take a Steeler with my bye weeks. And then Cleveland Browns, I could take Dylan Gabriel. It doesn't seem worth it, though, to me. Thornton. I haven't taken any Dante Thornton yet. He's kind of interesting. You have Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. Could be interesting. Washington has a bye in week 12. Let me do that one. I think I already picked. What? Dylan Gabriel. That's fine. It doesn't screw me on the bye weeks. I said I would take him if he was there. I don't know what happened there. I think I might have. I meant to unqueue him, and it didn't unqueue. Which if I wasn't doing this with my phone sideways, which is how I'm streaming it, it would have been a lot easier. If I had it vertical like this, it's like 10 times easier to queue and unqueue players, but it's just harder to see on stream. So I don't mind it. I'll take Dylan Gabriel there. It's whatever. I don't hate the pick. And jump back up here. But the whole thing with Dylan Gabriel is he could just never play a single game this season. In that case, my team is not built for him really because I've got Loveland and Williams on the same bye in week 5. Almost certainly Gabriel's not playing in week 5, right? So now I've got 3 players out on week 5. I can only start 3. There's 4 starting positions. This team's pretty much dead, unfortunately. So maybe to get around that, and I can always move it later, the way to do that, to beat this, is to say, actually, Dylan Gabriel gets the starting gig week 1 or week 2, and I put him up here for like a 1.75 modifier or something like and then I take advantage of the fact that no one else is doing that. So just getting unique. That's really the only way this team could win because if Dylan Gabriel's actually out weeks 1 through 5, this team's pretty much dead because of the bye situation. And I think it really matters that much because you're competing with every single other team in the entire tournament. There's no pods, right? So any other team that has my exact same combination of T-Mac, Loveland, Woody Marks, etc., but instead of Dylan Gabriel, they took like Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt or somebody who even scores one more point in the weeks that Dylan Gabriel does nothing, like hits their lineup, then that team's going to beat me. And I think it could come down to that. It could be that close. I don't know that there's going to be so many entries in this tournament though that you have to be like ultimate, like unique. But I think there's an edge if you can avoid the bye week. So I didn't really avoid it there, which is a bummer. Let's look at some of your teams. I'm gonna look at Huhaim's team. We can look at PPR's team. Whoops. So then you go here, you go to my teams. We can look at this one. We just drafted. Go to the board. Okay. Get out of here, Huhaims. Running it back. Yeah, I'll be doing some more. Be doing some more for sure. Don't be slandering Quinn Ewers in this chat. You should know better than that. Genty, Tootin, Pat Bryant. I love those three. Really solid core. And then you're hoping on Milrow, of course. You got Chimere, DK, and Arian Smith. Arian Smith. That's interesting. And then I don't have all the buys memorized, so I'm not going to check your bye weeks, but that's something you want to be aware of. Chimere, DK. So DK and Arian Smith are guys that you're on late. I'd probably take... I haven't really clicked those guys yet. I've got DK draft. I got DK ranked, though. Let's see what PPR did. He goes Golden, Higgins, Warren. That's actually a really nice start. I like that. Pretty solid, especially in this PPR format. He gets Arroyo. Could be something there. He could get the starting gig at tight end there eventually, and then he's getting snaps. So I think Arroyo makes sense in round 4 versus a pick like Trevor Etienne, Jordan James, Kyle Monangai, who potentially just never see the field. So I think that's pretty smart. Ty Felton is one of my favorite picks. I need to get more of him. And then he goes with Jalen Lane with his last pick. The last picks are really hard. The round 6, you've got to take a stand on some players because there's not much there to go off of. Let's run it back. What do y'all say? Who says no? Okay. Let's see. Let's do some more. Let's rip some more. This is going really, really fast, and it's going good. So I'm gonna go back into the lobby, and let's do another Origins because I'm just feeling the Origins right now. We could do a Flex 4 at some point. Let's do another Origins. Enter the tournament. Boom. How you guys doing tonight on this Friday? How are your drafts going? Waiting on 2. Very nice.
Oh.
Gotta get some drafts in. The schedule's out. You haven't memorized yet? Do you know your Week 17 matchups? Do you know your bye weeks? Do you know your dome games? If you don't, you're missing out on the edge. And I'm kind of joking, but I'm also kind of dead serious. Because we're a bunch of best ball sickos out here. And these are the things that matter. If you're drafting in May, you're a sicko. So get with the program. Memorize the schedule. Memorize the bye weeks. Memorizing the bye weeks is, I think, honestly harder. Unless you can see the bye weeks very clearly, it's a tough one. I'm still working on it. Like, do you know your quarterback combos? McCarthy, Stroud. Can't have a 2 QB build with McCarthy and Stroud. Love and Penix. Doesn't work. Fields and Stafford. Doesn't work for 2 QB. Prescott, Mahomes. Can't draft those 2 QB teams. Young and Purdy, or May and Purdy. Doesn't work. Daniels, Knicks. Daniels, Herbert. Those teams don't work anymore. I went through my old BBMs because I've done like 16 of them. And I only had one team that I drafted pre-schedule out of the 14 that had a 2 QB build with the same bye weeks, and it was Daniels and Tua. But the team's not dead. I think it's a really strong team. So maybe I just take the hit in week 12, but I still can advance, maybe get second in my pod. So things to consider. We're running it back. We're waiting on 2 more to fill. I'm going to jump in the Discord. And then, like I said, guys, we're going to be drafting a few more. And then about 10-15, about 40 minutes, I'm going to jump over in Nick Bach's channel and do some elims with him. And so you're going to want to come over there too, hang out, draft some elims with us. It'll be fun. We'll get to know him a little bit. You've seen him in the Discord. You maybe seen him on Twitter. You maybe have seen his streams if you haven't checked him out. I posted on YouTube his channel in a recent post that I did. So go check it out. Be there a little bit later. I keep saying I'm going to go to Discord, and then Twitter is distracting me. So let me pop over in the Discord. Jump into the Fast Draft Discord. If you're new to Fast Draft, if you're liking what you see, consider downloading it. You can use code GARAGE to get a $50 match on your first $50 deposit. Why not? That's 10 Origins drafts right there for you for free. And then if you draft 5 tonight, I mean, we've only got 3 hours left, but if you draft 5 of them tonight, you post one picture of one of your drafts. They're really easy to share. You can share it right out of the app on their Discord in the Rate My Team section, and you include your username. Like for me, it's FFB Garage, promo code Garage. They'll send you $100 in promos. That's 20 Origins drafts you could be doing. And we're going to be doing Fast Draft Fridays going forward for eternity. I don't see this ending. This is a lot of fun. We'll mix it in too. I mean, it doesn't have to be just Fast Draft Fridays with just fast drafts, but at least we could do 3-4 fast drafts in 30 minutes. So definitely a fun segment. Looking forward to more of that. Like I said, if you're considering drafting on this app, do it tonight. It's the best promo they've ever had. It's probably the best promo of the summer. I don't know what they have cooking up. Maybe you could hold out for something better, but when else are you going to be able to get $150 in bonus cash when each tournament is a $5 entry? It's insane. And you only have to deposit. If you wanted to, you could do the minimum. You could deposit 25 of your own dollars, use my code, get a $25 match, and draft 5 teams tonight. You'll get $100 from them. Doesn't get much better than that. So I'm having a lot of fun on the app. I've been drafting these tournaments for months now. I've been doing it with other content creators like PPR Tyler, going on the Fantasylands streams and drafting with them as well. They've been able to fill drafts very effectively and have fun doing it. And I will say, it's a lot different. It's a lot different than other best ball platforms you might be used to because of the full PPR, the season-long scoring, the third-round reversal, the 6-player rosters, starting 4, and the other part of it is a lot of these people in here are new to best ball. A lot of them are dynasty bros. They might think of these players differently than we do. They might be thinking, "Oh, I want, a player like a Harold Fannin Jr. on my team because he could be really good." When the best ball bros know, not really a great bet for year one. Not when you're behind in Joku. Who knows? Maybe he plays in a different kind of big slot role or something, but just those things like slightly avoiding the late tight ends, leaning more into running back, especially in full PPR, leaning into guys who are going to get snaps, avoiding the bye weeks like I've been saying. So I'm in the 7th spot. I get some Henderson. I think Henderson's great in this format because of his pass catching upside too. And he could just be the workhorse running back in that offense. We've got Who Hames in the 10 spot. My man. Hope you're having a great week, Who Hames. Getting ready for your weekend. I know you get busy on the weekends. A lot of good streams from Who Hames this week. A lot of good stuff. And we filled it. We filled it by the time I couldn't even type it into the Discord. We filled it up. Who Hames goes Shook. So he thinks Shuck is going to start. He goes Scatabo. He's a big Scatabo bull. That's a fun start. Saints and then the Giants. That works out good for the buys. I'm going to keep harping on the buys until I can memorize it myself and just like which combos you can and can't have. Henderson has. It doesn't matter for my first 2 picks as much. I like Egbuka. I haven't been able to get him in the last couple ones. Maybe Higgins too. New England has the bye in week. Come on now. Week 14. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Egbuka, who goes on bye in week 8. So 8 and 14. I'm going to try to not get too many more players on those buys. Taking Cam Scatabo at 11. I haven't seen him go that early yet, Who Hames, but I'm here for it. He could be a great PPR play. He could just dominate the touches for the Giants easily. Dart goes 1-3. I think it's a little early for Dart in my ranks. I'd rather have a sure thing like Egbuka. Egbuka could come out here immediately and have 4 catches a game. It'd be a ton of upside in a format like this. Henderson, I think, is going to be in the 15 touches per game range, maybe more, depending on how much they use Ramondre, Gibson, Travion Williams, who they just signed, famously. Travion Williams handing over the Bengals playbook to Coach Vrabel. Warren and Loveland go. I keep wanting to get Warren and Loveland in the 3rd round, but not lucky this time. It's a 3rd round reversal. Who Hames back on the clock. The 1 spot goes Genty Bird, and that's a pretty sick team, actually. Kind of jealous about that one. The Cam Ward team's looking pretty decent. Cam Ward and 210. One, 2, 3 picks. If Blue's there, I'm taking Blue. Otherwise, Besh could be fine. It's kind of a weird spot if I don't get one of those 2 guys, unfortunately. Knoll or Taylor. I might need to move Taylor back lower in my ranks. I think I have him a little bit too high right now. Besh goes. Shador goes. Thank goodness. Shador has a ADP that is held over from the previous tournaments. And so it's kind of like an aberration. He actually shouldn't be getting drafted in the 3rd round, but because his ADP is there, some people just take him naturally. But think it through. If Shador's missing games, you can't win this tournament. He has to be starting immediately. We know he's not going to be starting immediately. At least we think so at this point in the offseason. Things can change. Jaden Blue, looking pretty good right now. So then I've got Dallas, that's week 10. The Patriots, week 14 with Travion, and Egbuka in week 8. So I've done a good job of separating out my buys so far. Who you've got Kyle Williams and Scatabo, both with buys in week 14. So it looks like no more Panthers or 49ers for you. But I don't know how. There's not that many. Can you think of a Panther? I guess there's some late Panthers rookies. I mean, it'd be ETN. And then for the Niners, I don't think the Niners even took any rookie skill position players outside of Jordan James. And I don't know if you like him a lot, but not in this build for you would not be advisable. A few more picks to go. Yeah, I got to update my ranks. I did a little bit of rank updating before I jumped on the stream, but I got to do some more. Do you see anything wrong with taking Tootin or Bigsby in every draft? For like the 18 rounds, like on underdog, I would say I'm not really drafting Bigsby right now because he could just have no role in that offense. I'm kind of fading ETN, hard fading Bigsby, and then I like Tootin. I'm gonna be the biggest Savion bull in this format, especially when Pat Bryant's not there. And I'll just take whatever potential second or third string running back comes back around. Because like Taj Brooks, is he the backup? Is he the third stringer? I love his profile, but Savion Williams has an easier path to getting on the field. When the offense runs 11 personnel, there's 3 wide receivers that Savion could come in, and relieve a Golden or a Reed who need to take a breath, right? Who need a minute. Not that they have to bench those starters for him. He can come in and get snaps, get touches, maybe handoffs out of the backfield. Who knows? But with a guy like Taj Brooks, he's not going to be coming in to relieve Chase Brown. That's going to be Samaje Perine or Zach Moss. Who knows? And so Taj Brooks needs some injuries for him to gain a role. I think Gordon is an interesting one though, because Gordon could get some touches, I think, as kind of their power back if Madison doesn't have that role. But I think Madison's going to compete for it. Like I said, Giddens is a sure backup. Maybe he's a good fit. I should go ahead and take Felton. Felton doesn't really conflict with my buys, so I'm going to go ahead and grab him here because I've been wanting to get him. And I don't think he'll make it back around. So Felton in week 6, Savion in week 5, Blue in week 10, Egbuka in week 8, Henderson in week 14, which is perfect. I don't have any overlapping buys. That means I can take literally any player I want available and not worry about only starting 3 players in a given week. So this is kind of like that rare combo that I've been shooting for that I think is going to be, it's actually harder to stumble into than you would assume because of the week 8 buy apocalypse. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks with at least 4 teams on buys. So I think half the teams in these tournaments are going to have a week where they have got at best 3 players that are not on buy. Like about half or about 40% of all the teams drafted are going to run into this potentially. Maybe a third, maybe it's less, but I think it's just naturally going to happen a lot. So if you're not actively avoiding the buys, you're drafting teams that are potentially dead on arrival or just have a huge uphill battle, and you're going to have to get unique somehow or change your modifiers so that you're able to overcome the bad weeks. Allen, I think, is fine. Edwards, I think, is fine. Who could actually get snaps, though? It's going to be one of those two guys. I'm going to just change it up. I like Donovan Edwards. He was good in college. Obviously, he's playing for Michigan. The offensive line was a big part of that. 2 years ago, we thought Donovan Edwards could have been potentially the RB2 or 3 in this class. Didn't work out that way. Good pass catcher, good size speed, lands on the Jets, good offensive line there. Is Braylon Allen any good at all? To be determined. If anything, Isaiah Davis looks better than Braylon Allen on the limited sample size we saw last season. Breece Hall is a beast, but he doesn't necessarily have the biggest capacity for a workload. Maybe Donovan Edwards comes in there and is the true backup to Breece, or takes over the backup role from the other two guys. I think it could happen, even though Edwards was undrafted. So I kind of like Edwards in this format. It's either him or Yarns or LaQuint Allen. So a toss-up. I kind of mix them all in. More LaQuint Allen and then a little bit of Edwards. And then rarely I'll take Yarns because it's just hard for him to see the field on the Saints. Also an undrafted guy. Let's look at this team. And then the Jets are on a bye in week 9. So I literally don't have a single player on this team that'll be on a bye together. So I'll be able to start 5 players every single week. Assuming Donovan Edwards is mostly a 0, that means even in my bye weeks, I'll be starting 4 players. So it's a very strong team. This is one of the strongest teams I think I've drafted, honestly. If you think about just the number of snaps that I'm going to be able to capture with these players, which is in the season-long scoring, that's kind of, I think, what you're going for is you want the highest floor every single week. Kind of like the Eliminator, kind of a similar strategy. Rookie-only Eliminator. Yeah, so James, I'm kind of fading Bigsby because he's not that great. He's a decent rusher, not really participating in the pass game. And then they just drafted 2 running backs who are more dynamic in Tootin and LaQuint Allen, who's like a dynamic pass catcher. Although maybe with the fumbling issues from Tootin and then Allen, they just don't think he can handle a bigger workload. He's more a passing down guy or comes in special teams, who knows. Maybe Bigsby gets some of the work, just kind of the grinding back. But then he's touchdown dependent. So I don't know. ETN's still there. Maybe they trade him. It's kind of a mess. I go for the cheaper pieces, and I think although Tootin's the most expensive piece of it, he's the most exciting. And then so I don't know. I'm not really drafting Bigsby at the moment. If ETN gets traded, where do you see him going? I have no idea. But who needs a running back? The Cowboys are just accumulating washed up running backs. The Bears could use one, but I don't wherever ETN goes, I don't think he'll be that good. I don't think he's very efficient. He's been on a sharp decline since his rookie year. I think I could be challenged on that. And then the foot injury that lingers and missing games. Doing the flex 4 next. Let's jump into a flex 4. That sounds fun. Let's see if we can catch up if Huhames is still in a flex 4. I'm going to jump into this flex 4, tell you more about this tournament. I've set ranks in here, but there's only 60 players drafted, so it's kind of hard to have really solid ranks because you want to bring in guys who are outside of the top 60. So I've only really ranked my top 50 guys. And even then I'm not I'm not going to live or die by these ranks. I'll probably flip it back between ADP and ranks a little bit more in this one because there's a bigger, deeper player pool. There's 200 players you could draft in this format. Maybe not 200 because all the quarterbacks are gone, but there's at least 160 players worth drafting, and we're only drafting 60 of them. So half of the player pool goes undrafted every tournament, or every draft in this tournament. Get that money. Al Bug, what up? How you doing tonight, my man? Hope you're having a great Friday. Thanks for stopping by. What's going on? Huhames, I think I'm in the same room as you. Let me know if not, because we're still waiting on 3 more. I'm going to throw it into the board. Join a draft. Do flex flex floor, flex 4 +3. Yeah, Huhames was actually the last person in the Discord to comment, which I think was during the stream when he helped us fill that Origins one. So shout out to Huhames. Okay, I'm gonna jump out of the Discord because it keeps pinging. And then, but I posted it in there. We should be able to fill this one very quickly. It's a flex 4, no QBs, but there's running backs, tight ends, and receivers like you would expect, the veterans and the rookies. This is a fun format. This is also a very hard format because you have to do the exact same thing. You have to avoid the bye weeks. So stacking can be detrimental. Earlier today, I drafted a team. I thought I was getting unique and lucky. I took Gibbs, Amon-Ra, and then Bucky Irving, and I was like, hell yeah. Before I realized they all have the same bye week, and that team is pretty much dead. Because, I mean, unless those are just like the 3 highest scoring players in fantasy this season, in week 8, when they're all on a bye, and I can only start 3 out of 4 players in my starting lineup, everyone else who can start 4 that week is going to pass me up, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to play catch up. So that kind of sucks, but potentially you do something like take a player. Like imagine this was last season. If you're drafting Chase Brown at pick 60 or in your last pick in that last round, and he goes largely undrafted in this format, and then you put him on a modifier like a 1.25 or 1.5 or something, that could be enough to overcome a potential bye week where you miss one player, especially if the player who missed like that you miss out on is like a ×1 multiplier, and it's not like you're overlapping your ×2 multiplier player. And then you have a guy like a Chase Brown who goes from being pretty much undrafted, you have leverage on the field, to being a top 30 scoring player in fantasy. So that's another angle that you can get to in the flex 4 that you probably can't get to in the Origins because the player pool in the Origins is just not deep enough, and there's not going to be that many rookies getting touches. In the flex 4, it's all the veterans too. And I still think the rookies are a good bet in this because a lot of the rookies go in the last round. So you can get Matthew Golden in the last round. You can get Traven Henderson in the second to last or last round. So I think it's worth pulling up players who go undrafted with your 5th and 6th round picks. It's kind of how I'm playing it, and then avoiding the buys. That's how I want to build these teams. Waiting on 2 more. We'll get into it. What do y'all think? How are you guys building teams in this format if you've drafted some so far? Yeah, I could. I need to close tabs anyways. I have too many tabs open. I might as well just close out of the tab and then can jump into that when the time comes. Yeah, we're definitely doing this one. It's only going to take us about 10 minutes, so definitely doing this one. And then, like I said, I'm going to jump on Nick Bach's channel, Nick Baclage, jumping on his channel to do some eliminators at 10:15 p.m. Central. So it's about 20 minutes from now. So we might be able to do 2 more, maybe just 1 more. We'll see. But it's been fun. The Fast Draft app has launched their Discord. A lot of familiar faces in there. A lot of content creators that you know and love are in there. It's a small community right now. It's getting bigger quickly. So if you're interested, it's probably one of the best days of the year to join the app. If you use my code GARAGE when you sign up, you can get up to a $50 match. If you think you want to do a ton of teams, that's what I would do. And then if you draft 5 tonight, they'll give you $100 free. You're netting $75 in that situation. And if you sign up with the promo and you get a $50 match, you get another $50 for free, right? So then you could be getting $125 of free entry fees to draft these tournaments. They're $5 for the Flex 4 and the Origins, so do the math. It's a lot of teams. I'm pretty pumped. I got my $100, so I'm psyched. Going to be drafting Flex 4s and Origins all weekend on and off stream, but definitely tonight, big focus, and it's a lot of fun. So the Fast Draft Fantasy app, if you haven't seen it so far, I'm happy to show it to you guys on stream and then tell you what my strategies are, talk to you about it, discuss it. Like I said, PPR Tyler and I have been drafting these for months now and been enjoying it. So if you've seen him do it on his stream, or if you've seen me do it on this stream before, I've pretty much been preaching the same thing. Go for running backs and then avoid tight end. Now that we know the bye weeks, that's like my next big piece that I'm preaching. So I go Gibbs here because it's CeeDee Lamb's also a great pick. I'm kind of in between Gibbs and CeeDee Lamb, but I want to go Gibbs in a full PPR season-long scoring and just hope he goes from 17 touches a game to 20 touches a game. And Montgomery goes from 16 touches a game to 13 touches a game. If that transition happens, which doesn't seem like that big of a shift, Gibbs is the number one player in fantasy. In the weeks 15 to 18 that Montgomery missed, Gibbs averaged 31 PPR points in fantasy per game. Not in any single game. He averaged that. If he put up not even that full 31 points, but something around 27 to 30 points per game, he would be looking like the best season we've ever seen out of Christian McCaffrey. So that's the ceiling for Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm buying. I'm going to buy Gibbs way ahead of ADP. I think he goes around 6. I think CeeDee Lamb's also a very good pick in this. I move CeeDee Lamb ahead of Justin Jefferson in this format. Got my man Who Hames in the 10 spot. He gets Achane and Genty. That's pretty fun. I still like Derrick Henry in this format, even though it's full PPR. Derrick Henry just scores so many points in a season-long format that I definitely want him. So I've got Detroit. I've got a player in week 8. I need to avoid Jaguars, Raiders, Bucks, Cardinals, and Seahawks. Kind of a lot of teams to avoid, unfortunately. McCaffrey goes. I think McCaffrey's probably the best pick in the second round. Outside of Genty, maybe. Let's go. JD goes. Derrick Henry goes. I'm up next. I don't know if I want Brock Bowers on this team. I probably want AJ Brown, even though it's full PPR. Brock Bowers goes anyways. I just don't want to prioritize a tight end in a flex 4 situation. I think AJ Brown's my favorite pick here. And then I have a big tier of running backs up next. It's still a 3rd round reversal. You got to remember that. So we're up next in a little while. We got a little while to wait for the next pick. The Eagles are on bye in week 9, so I'm avoiding Rams, Browns, and Jets to an extent, which kind of sucks because if Breece Hall's there, I think he's a great pick. But I could have 2 players on a bye that week, but I want to try to have 5 players available every week. It just gives you a little bit, maybe a little bit of an edge, but I don't want to force it either. I think it's doable with 2 on a bye once. On the clock, Breece Hall's gone. Chase Brown's there. It's got to be Chase Brown, right? And then my bye week for or JSN or McLaurin, honestly, all good picks. I think it's Chase Brown. The bye week for the Bengals is why can't I see it? Week 10. So I've got 8, 9, and 10 right now. T. Higgins goes pretty late. That's pretty late for T. Higgins. I do have T. Higgins ranked after Chase Brown. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but looks like Terry McLaurin goes. JSN. That's, in my mind, that's too early for DJ Moore. James Cook. I like Mike Evans. I like Tyreek. I like Devontae. Tampa Bay. I could take a Tampa Bay player, but then I have an overlap with the Lions. Tyreek Miami gives me a nice spot. I'll do that one. Could have gone Rams too, I think. The Rams have the bye week in week 9. Okay, so no, that was a good choice. Tyreek was a good choice there. Who Hames with the most humble statement of the night. I do like it though. McConkey, Genty, Achan. So you just got to watch out because now you've got a Charger and a Dolphin who will bye in week 12. And then Achan, Raiders. The Raiders don't really have. They have a lot of teams on bye. Or there's Bye-pocalypse, 6 teams on bye in week 8, the Raiders. So that's something you got to look out for. I think Kamara is a good pick in this format. I would take Kamara ahead of Chuba Hubbard. I like Ken Walker, though. I probably wouldn't move him ahead of Walker. And then Mixon, kind of a toss-up, but maybe Kamara. In full PPR, season-long scoring, you don't just need spike week guys. You also want guys with a really high floor, high touch, and that's Kamara. That's Mixon. Could be Walker. Although Walker does kind of split a little bit with Charbonnet, but when he's healthy, he really doesn't split as much. Rashee Rice goes to Hames. Incredible pick. I considered going Rice ahead of Tyreek Hill. I don't know. I think I have him still back in my rankings because Rashee Rice goes really late, so I don't want to force the pick. But I think in pure rankings, I would have Rashee Rice right next to Hill, if not in front. That's a great pick. Godwin's good. Let's just hope, obviously, he plays every game. Harvey's a nice pick there. I'm going to queue up some players. I'm up in 5. Two picks left. I have no players with overlapping weeks. Miami's in 12. Cincy's in 10. Philly is in 9. Detroit is in 8. James Conner's a great pick there. Sutton would be a really good pick here too. And the Broncos are in week 12 and then Carolina is week 14. I'm gonna go Carolina. I'm gonna go T-Mac there. Could go Hunter as well. But then he has the same buy as Jahmyr Gibbs. I think T-Mac in this format also very good. Good pick. Could be a volume hog. Could have a great rookie year. What up, Fantasy Dog? Appreciate you stopping by. How you doing tonight, my man? Travion goes, Sutton goes. I really wanted Sutton, actually. Jacksonville, I can take Hunter here. Jacksonville, week 8. Baltimore's a good pick with the bye. Week 7. I'm going to go with Zay Flowers. I could have gone Jameson Williams. That could have been fun with Gibbs and get a little bit of a Detroit stack. And I guess I didn't have any other conflicting bye weeks, so it would have been fine. But I ended up going Baltimore by week 7. Carolina by week 14. Hill by week 12. Chase Brown by week 10. AJ Brown by week 9. And Gibbs in by week 8. So I've got 6 players across 6 different bye weeks. So I'm spreading out, making sure I'm very resilient. Only a tiebreaker there. I could have taken Travis Hunter. He's going to go undrafted, it looks like, which is kind of crazy. Trey Harris gets drafted. Let's see what Hames does with his last pick. And then I also considered going Jameson Williams. Easily would have been a good pick there. Zay Flowers, toss up, like them both. I've been drafting a ton of Zay Flowers in this format. Some reason people don't like him. I like him just fine, even in full PPR. I think it's because the Ravens don't have as much passing volume, but I think when he gets it, it's big plays. He's had about 75 plus receptions each of the last 2 years. Maybe we see Zay Flowers take a step up in the targets. He can dominate the target share for the Ravens. Can he hit 85, 90 receptions? So let's review these teams very quickly. I don't think I'm going to change my boosters. I think I like how it's set up right now. Come back to that. Let's see what Huham's ended up with. Let's review his. Huham's in the 10 spot goes Achan, Genty, McConkey. Love it. And then Rashee Rice, incredible pick. You lucky dog, you. Godwin. It's a good upside, good PPR play. If he's healthy, it's a great pick, of course. And then Diggs with his last pick, which Diggs goes undrafted a lot, so that's a pretty fun pick. I think it makes a lot of sense. I like that squad. Double anchor running back, then take a bunch of receivers who could be the number one wideout on their team in terms of targets and receptions. Makes a lot of sense for full PPR season long. The team in the 5 spot did something very interesting, which is it looks pretty good. Bijan, JT, Josh Jacobs. That's a strong trio. Chuba Hubbard. I would have gone Kamara or Mixon there, maybe even Walker. Connor, I love at pick 46. I would have easily taken Connor at pick 48 if I could have. And then he ends it with DK Metcalf. So maybe he's looking for a spike week guy in Metcalf, or maybe Metcalf is more of a target hog. Had maybe a career year in receptions on the Steelers. Who knows? Fun tournaments, fun drafts. What is DK Metcalf's career high receptions? If you had to guess, it's 90. And he averages about mid-60s. Per game, he's averaging maybe 5, 6. So he's a big play potential. He's a best ball pick. He can always have the touchdown upside that he used to have. I think with him, you're going for that more than just the pure reception total, but his reception totals haven't been bad in his career. Just kind of recently, they've been a bit lower. That's a fun pick. Yeah, DK going in the last round's pretty nice. I took Flowers over DK. I think I would stick with that, but it's a good pick. DK is a good pick for sure. All right, y'all. I'm going over to Nick Box channel. I'm going to jump into his... we're going to jump into an Eliminator draft on his channel. Come join us over there. Check it out. Let's hang out. Keep the night going. Keep drafting. I'll see y'all soon. Tomorrow night, we'll be doing more drafting, some underdog drafts, maybe even some more fast drafts. It's all on the table. Have a great Friday night. If you're going to stick around, come see me on Nick Box channel. We'll talk more. Let's catch up with one last question, though. One last question. It was Zay Flowers explosive? Yes. Yes, of course. No QBs? Yeah, it's a flex 4 is the tournament, so there's no quarterbacks. You just draft all flex positions. It's fun. It's fun stuff, Fantasy Dog. We'll get more into it. If you watch back a little bit at the beginning of that last draft, I went into the format a little bit more, but in a sense, 10 teams, 6 rounds, full PPR, full season-long scoring weeks 1 through 17, 3rd round reversal, interesting quirk, start 4, 2 on the bench, best ball. So you only have 6 players on your roster, so you really got to watch out for the bye weeks is what I'm pushing. We got Jackson here. What up, man? Let's help him out real quick, chat, with this question, and then we're going to bounce. Hey, I've been offered to trade away a Monra for RJ Harvey, a 26th first and a 22nd first, a 20 and a third. Well, even without the 26th third, I'm already interested.
Wide receivers to be Pickens, Pittman, Ayuk, Keon Coleman. RBs, I have Ginty, Brina Robb Jr., Brian Robinson. Oh, yeah, Brian Robb Jr. Thoughts? If you can get 2 future firsts for Amon-Ra, I think I'm in. And then you get Harvey, who was a first this year, who goes around pick 107. So you're getting 3 first-round picks for Amon-Ra. My gut says yes. I would honestly have to consult with Bindles, who's my partner on our Monday night shows. First show coming up this Monday. Ballsy. Let me throw it to that real quick. Boom. Ballsy. Promo. Oh, very nice. Oops. Remove. And then, boom. Ballsy. Monday nights, 8:30 p.m. Central, starting this coming Monday. It's a Best Ball and Dynasty show. Bindles, a Dynasty expert. Me, a wannabe Best Ball bro. We're coming together. We're drafting BBMs. And we're answering all your Dynasty questions. So, Jackson, come back Monday when Bindles is here. Check out his channel below in my description. He can set you right. I'm interested. He also offered me on Amon-Ra for Chase Brown. Oh, you're giving up Amon-Ra? Yeah, trade away Amon-Ra. Right. You're trading away Amon-Ra for the... I think Amon-Ra for 3 first, which RJ Harvey is essentially a first-round pick. I think that makes sense to me. But, I mean, obviously, you're trading Amon-Ra. He's a pretty hard player to trade. He offered Amon-Ra for Chase Brown, RJ Harvey in the third. I would not do that. I follow you. I caught up. I followed you now, Jackson. Don't do that one. We don't want to be buying Chase Brown. We're buying Chase Brown at his peak right now. You want to be selling Chase Brown. RJ Harvey you want to be buying. Future first you want to be buying. Amon-Ra is a great pick though. So you got to know your needs, got to know your league. Come back Monday if you haven't made the trade already. See what Bindle says. Appreciate you being here, guys. Make sure you're subbed to the channel if you're watching this later. I'm going to leave a question in the comments for you guys to answer. It's going to be relevant to this stream, a rookie question. So go ahead and throw me a comment. We'll get it all going. I'll see y'all in either 2 seconds. I'm going to jump over to Nick Box's channel. Look at the post I just put on my YouTube. You can check it out. Come check out his channel. We're going to draft an eliminator. If not, I'll see y'all soon. Appreciate you being here. Peace.